I do want to say that I do not care what you believe. I believe you are entitled to your beliefs, and I respect that you have them. And that is true whether you don't believe in a God, whether you believe in a God, whether you believe in multiple gods, whatever it is. You are, in my opinion, totally, you should be totally allowed to believe whatever you want. And I do not lose respect for someone based on what they believe when it comes to religion. The only time I start to lose respect for someone is when they try to dictate how or what I should believe based on their beliefs. This is actually at this point where the train goes off the rails. In 2007, with absolutely no evidence backing his opinion, Mozambique's Roman Catholic Archbishop at the time claimed that European condom manufacturers were deliberately infecting condoms with HIV. And I quote, in order to finish quickly the African people. No evidence whatsoever to back his claim, and in fact it has been proven that AIDS cannot last any length of time in a condom. It must be inside the body to continue to spread. So Mozambique is 7th overall in Africa with the percent of adults with AIDS. How many people in that country and how many people in other countries around Mozambique heard what the Archbishop had to say and became infected with HIV and AIDS because they wouldn't use a condom, because that was going to give them AIDS? The condom was going to give them AIDS, not the people with HIV and AIDS. Sure, great. Yeah, that's good morality right there, right? I'll stop them from using condoms. They'll all die, but they won't use condoms. Morality. I have a message to that Archbishop specifically. Thank you for showing your true colors. You've shown that you care nothing about the millions of people who will die from the AIDS epidemic in Africa because of the lies you spread about condoms. You've shown that you care more about continuing a false narrative that condoms are bad and not to use them if you're Christian. And so to you and to anyone else, let's see, save millions of lives, don't use condoms. Which one is the more moral choice to you? If it's the condom one, I question your morality at this point. So, well, that's it for the HIV and AIDS epidemic in Africa. No, I'm just kidding. It gets worse. How do you get worse from an archbishop? Well, you bring in a pope. Pope Benedict XVI, my least favorite pope of the modern era, and possibly the worst pope of all time, in my opinion, again, just my opinion, visits Africa. He makes an amazing statement that says that condoms are not the answer to the HIV and AIDS crisis in Africa and could make the crisis worse. He has no evidence to back that opinion. And in fact, all evidence proves the opposite. Condoms do help in preventing the spread of HIV and AIDS. So, in remembering that this is the man closest to God on earth, my question is this: is he completely ignorant and incompetent, or is he, or does he know what he's saying to be untrue? In other words, is he a fool or is he a fraud? He's either a liar or an idiot. One of the two. Either way, I don't think that's very good for a church, if that's the person who is supposed to be the closest to God on earth. And the blood of how many millions are on his hands, along with people like the Archbishop who make stupid, ridiculous claims like he did. Now, incidentally, a little while after this, Pope Benedict came out and said, well, you know, maybe condoms are okay to be used, but only by male prostitutes. Only by male prostitutes. So who cares if women get the HIV and AIDS, but male prostitutes, they can protect themselves. Way to move the marker on that one, Pope. Now, I'm going to go on a bit of a side rant here. Pope Benedict, as I said, Pope Benedict the 16th, as I said, is my personally least favorite pope, and I think one of the candidates, if not the candidate for the worst pope ever for humanity. What he said about AIDS in Africa was only one of the reasons I don't like this man. Others include things like on a trip to England, he claimed the reason that Nazis were so bad was because of their atheism. Not their anti-Semitism, their atheism. Now, I would normally, if a person made a claim like this, I would normally ask them what authority they would have to make such a claim. But, you know, Pope Benedict the 16th was a Hitler Youth. So I guess he would know better than me, right? What the Nazis' problems were. And on top of that, he was the one personally responsible for the cover-up and shuffling of all those priests around the world who enjoyed the company of children way too much, if you understand my meaning. Now, this is going to be the next video where I cover this topic, but just in quick, I'll just point this out quickly. He sent a memo out to all of the employees of the church stating that they were not to talk to police or help police in their investigations in any way. If they did so, they would incur excommunication from the church. In my opinion, that man should have rotted in a jail cell until the day he died. But again, just my opinion. But that's the man closest to God, and that's the man that teaches what morality is. That's scary as hell to me. Just saying. Just saying. Now, I do want to talk about Pope Francis here. He came after Pope Benedict, and actually, generally, I really like Pope Francis as a pope. In my opinion, he's changed some views the church has needed to change for many years, and he's changed them for the better. And one thing that blows my mind is the fact that he actually admitted that alien life might be possible somewhere in the universe. I never thought a pope was going to say that. I thought it was going to have to take aliens coming down in a spaceship before they even said, okay, fine, maybe alien life is possible. I don't even think they would admit it at that point. I think they would just say it's possible. But he has already said it, something I never thought I would hear a pope say. But I do have a criticism when it comes to Pope Francis. When he was in Africa, he was asked about using condoms to protect from HIV and AIDS, and he brushed off the topic, basically saying that he was more worried about Africans getting daily food and clean drinking water. Which, personally, I feel that's a bit of a cop-out, but it's better than outright lying and saying that condoms will make the crisis worse, not better. So I guess that's something. Also, later on, when asked about the Zika virus after visiting Mexico, Pope Francis suggested it was okay to use condoms to prevent transmitting Zika infections. He said when talking about that abortion was, quote, evil, but again, quote, avoiding pregnancy is not an absolute evil. I personally wish that a reporter that was there had asked him at the time if he thought that it was okay to use condoms to prevent the spread of Zika. Did he also feel it was okay to use condoms to prevent the spread of HIV and AIDS? Unfortunately, none did, so there you go. Hold on, I'm just out of focus here. Let's just get back. There we go. All right. So maybe this is progress. Maybe this is him, thinking about his point of view. Some people do claim it's progress. Some people claim it's hypocrisy. I'm not sure what it is. The people who claim hypocrisy claim it because the Pope originally was born in South America, where Zika is prevalent. so he wants to protect his people, whereas he doesn't care that as much about Africans. I don't know that's the case. I don't know what's in his head. I hope personally that it's progress. I hope it's change for the good. But I'll let you make up your own minds on that, and you can do more research and find out more information all about that if you so choose. Now, before I finish this video, I do want to highlight a country who is doing very well against with the fight against HIV and AIDS, and that country is Uganda. From 1991 to 2007, HIV rates for the total population declined dramatically. In 1991, approximately 15% of the population had HIV infections. As of 2007, only 6% did. That is a rapid decline and one of the most successful declines in Africa. So what happened in 1991 to cause this rapid decline? Well, they started a campaign to change the behaviors of people within their country, and they called it the ABC model. A stands for abstain, B stands for be faithful, and what could C possibly stand for? If you can't do the first two, use a condom. Weird. Starting to talk about using condoms, and suddenly the rates go down significantly. Now, the government claimed that A and B were the most important reason for the drop and why the drop happened. But there are a few studies that came out. One such was from a rural region that showed that abstinence and fidelity rates had actually declined, meaning that more people were having more adult relations with each other. But there was no expected spike in HIV infections, suggesting that people were in fact using condoms, and hey, look at that, condoms work. Now, admittedly, it's a small study and only coming from one small region in Uganda. I get that, but as I've said before, all the evidence ever done shows that condoms help stop the spread of HIV and AIDS. They just do. Now, I will point out that there are some criticisms when it comes to Uganda's success. There's a lot of questions as to whether the stats are accurate. There are also claims that such a dramatic decline is most likely to the fact that treatment for HIV and AIDS is almost impossible to get in that country. So the only reason it declined so rapidly and so quickly was the amount of people who ceased to be because of the HIV and AIDS infections. Now, truth be told, it's probably a combination of all these factors. But the fact of the matter is that after they introduced condoms and said it was acceptable to use condoms, things started changing for the better. So even if it was really only a portion of that decrease, is that not better than no decrease or even potential increase over time? So again, we've got, preventing the spread of HIV and AIDS and the eventual death of millions, or not using condoms. Millions of lives. Don't use that thin piece of latex that will protect you. I know which one I believe is the moral choice, personally. So I would ask anyone who believes otherwise this. Are you okay with the millions of people dying so that they don't use condoms? If it was up to you and only you, and you could prevent all of those millions of deaths, would you honestly tell them not to use a condom because the Bible says it's bad? Understand that if you say, yes, I would say that, well, those millions of deaths are on your hands. So are you okay with that type of morality, would be my question. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one. Until then, I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.